Psychedelics has for some time been anathemized. It's seen as something that is quite inimical to the health of people, and as a result, something that is to be avoided. However, current science has been making some very notable advances in understanding just how these psychotropic elements can be utilized in therapy. And not only just therapy, it is also something that is used in order to better understand consciousness and the working of the brain itself. There are a variety of notable neuroscientists who regard these elements as working models that demonstrate how the brain may in fact be a valve for consciousness that filters consciousness. Dr. Robin Carhart-Harris, neuroscientist and founder of the Center for Psychedelic Research at Imperial College London, writes, "The brain may act as a kind of filter or reducing valve on a wider reality." His team's neuroimaging studies show that psychedelics suppress the default mode network, the system responsible for self-referential thought and perceptual gating, producing a state of increased entropy, sensory openness, and cross-network integration. This results in a less constrained, more entropic mode of brain functioning, an opening of perception. Dr. David Nutt, neuropsychopharmacologist and former chief scientific advisor on drugs to the UK government, concurs. He's quoted as stating, "Psychedelics switch off the constraint mechanism of the brain. They liberate perception." So let's discuss the reducing valve hypothesis in neuroscience. Fact 1. Psychedelics like psilocybin and LSD are 5-HT2A receptor agonists. This is not debated. It is foundational pharmacology. Fact 2. 5-HT2A agonism leads to marked suppression of the default mode network, as demonstrated across fMRI, MEG, and PET studies at Imperial College, Johns Hopkins, Zurich, and others. Fact 3. Suppression of the DMN is directly correlated with ego dissolution, cross-network hyperconnectivity, enhanced bottom-up signal flow, subjective reports of expanded awareness, time distortion, and non-local perception. These are not hallucinations. These are network-level reorganizations with quantifiable neural signatures. Carhart-Harris et al., 2014 PNAS, and Tagliazucchi et al., 2016 PNAS, both confirmed that psilocybin increases global functional connectivity and disrupts modular integrity, revealing a temporary breakdown of hierarchical brain constraints. In other words, less filtering, more signal. Now, let's talk hypothesis. In The Doors of Perception, written by Aldous Huxley in 1954, he proposes that the brain does not produce consciousness, but that it filters it. A quote from his writing, "To make biological survival possible, mind at large has to be funneled through the reducing valve of the brain and nervous system." End quote. Dismiss that as poetic, if we'd like, but the neurobiology says otherwise. The reducing valve is not metaphor, it's model. Fact 4. Dean et al., 2019, Scientific Reports, identified endogenous DMT production in the pineal gland of rats and confirmed widespread biosynthesis of mammalian brain tissues. DMT is a potent 5-HT2A1A agonist, structurally related to serotonin and active at sigma-1 receptors, implicated in neuroplasticity, information processing, and anti-inflammatory regulation. Sigma-1 receptors also appear to regulate NMDA receptor function and calcium ion signaling, critical to conscious perception. If this molecule is produced inside the brain, under what conditions does it surge? What purpose does it serve? The hypothesis? It opens the valve, temporarily lifting the filter that constrains perception. Fact 5. Functional neuroimaging during psychedelic states shows not only DMN suppression, but increased signal diversity and entropy. Schartner et al., 2017 Scientific Reports. This signal complexity correlates strongly with reported richness of conscious experience. Fact 5. Functional neuroimaging during psychedelic states shows not only DMN suppression, but increased signal diversity and entropy. Schartner et al., 2017 Scientific Reports. This signal complexity correlates strongly with reported richness of conscious experience. So what we have is this: a neurochemical trigger, 5-HT2A agonism, A reproducible network response, DMN suppression plus increased global connectivity, an entropic information state, measurable signal diversity, and a subjective experience described consistently across cultures and individuals as expanded awareness, merging of minds, or even access to non-local information. The data is not fringe. It is peer-reviewed, replicated, and increasingly coherent. Now let's speak plainly. If you're a neuroscientist who accepts the reality of hierarchical predictive processing, the cortical constraint model of the DMN, and measurable effect of 5-HT2A agonism on brain architecture and subjective experience, then you are already standing inside the reducing valve hypothesis. You just haven't acknowledged it yet. We're not asking you to accept telepathy or precognition. We're asking you to follow the evidence. And the evidence says this: the brain, under certain neurochemical states, lets more in. This is not pseudoscience, this is signal flow, receptor dynamics, and network theory. And unless we're willing to willfully disregard high-integrity data, we must conclude Huxley's valve has been located and it opens.